Oh my God, I was wrong. It was Earth all along. Yes, they finally made a monkey. Yes, we finally made a monkey. Yes, they finally made a monkey out of me. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, the podcast where Matt and Todd go see a movie at our local Regal cinema, and then we talk about it afterwards in Matt's Xterra, and we funnel it into the internet, and the internet provides it to you, and hopefully this serves a purpose and you enjoy it. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and yes, welcome to this episode where you may have guessed we saw a musical based on Todd's intro, which is a musical portion from The Simpsons, I believe.
Yes, the Planet of the Apes musical.
Yes. A
favorite episode of mine.
Yes. Wow. So many good episodes with The Simpsons.
It's true.
So many bad ones, too.
Also true.
You know, there's like a million. But we're not here to talk about The Simpsons anymore. Now we're going to be talking about the musical that we saw, which is called In the Heights.
In the Heights.
Yes. This movie has many musical songs and dance numbers in it. But the number of famous people in it, I think, is pretty low. You've got Jimmy Smits in a secondary role.
Yes.
You've got Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yes.
In a cameo role.
Side role? I don't know.
He does have one song that he performs by himself.
I can't even remember what the name of what he sells is.
It's
like shaved ice.
Yeah.
But I can't remember he's the shaved ice man.
Yes. So, but that was it for me. Did you pick anyone else out?
There's a couple more that I recognize.
All right.
But I don't know how famous they are.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Your yawn made me yawn.
Man.
Stephanie Beatrix was one of the salon girls. She's from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
She was Rosa. The guy who played Benny. It was Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton, and he was on The Walking Dead.
Okay.
We got Mark Anthony in like a cameo.
Okay.
Singer, songwriter, pop star / movie person.
I saw his name pop up, but I didn't know if it was the same guy.
It
was, but I didn't see him pop up in the movie.
That's because he looks incredibly old. The last time I saw him, he's Sonny's dad.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
He's only in for
he's
2
only
minutes
in
and
one
that's
scene.
it. Yeah,
right.
And I guess he does a song at the end.
Right.
Because during the credits, some song was playing, and it was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Anthony." And I think that is it for me. A couple other people, I was like, I think I know them, but I didn't look it up between now and then. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
Moving on.
We'll move on to what is In the Heights about. Well, In the Heights is about a neighborhood called Washington Heights.
Washington Heights.
Right. And changes are happening there. Gentrification is rearing its head, and businesses are closing, and people are wanting to move away to the Dominican Republic, and other people are selling their businesses to send their daughter to college and
Stanford.
All kinds of stuff.
Not just a regular college.
Right. Stanford. So you meet a few players in the neighborhood. The main person is called Usnavi, and he owns a little
corner
bodega.
Store? Wow. A
bodega. We use the correct terminology. But yes, a corner store, a convenience store, a little grocery. So he's there. His dream is to go to the Dominican Republic, where he lived as a child, and restart his father's broken down bar.
Yeah, beachfront bar.
And so you got him. He has a guy working for him named Sonny, who's like a kid in high school.
His cousin.
His cousin,
Yeah.
right? Whose dad is played by Mark Antony.
Yes. Now everyone's caught up.
Yes. And then they have some friends in the neighborhood. There's Vanessa, who Usnavi is interested in romantically.
Yes.
And she works at a salon, and the salon is shutting down and moving to a different place. And so you've got the salon owner and sort of
some other salon
some
girls.
other salon ladies who crop up quite a bit.
I in my head I named them the Sassy Bunch because I felt like that's what their role in the movie was.
Yes.
Whenever the movie needed to go more sassy,
The
here
salon
comes
girls.
The
came
salon
in.
girls.
Gotcha. Well, and then you had a couple other kind of main characters. One of them called Benny, who works at a cab dispatch place, and he is romantically interested in Nina. Is that her name?
Nina, yeah.
Yeah. And Nina's dad owns the cab company.
Yes.
And Nina goes to Stanford. And then eventually other stuff happens. But, you know.
But don't get it confused. This isn't a story about how the dad disapproves or anything like that, which I feel like could go that way, but it never really happens.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. So, and then there's like a neighborhood grandma who plays her role as the neighborhood grandma, doing neighborhood grandma stuff.
Abuela? I don't know. I'm probably not pronouncing that. Abuela
is Spanish for grandmother.
Right. I was just saying, like,
that's what they call her.
That's what they call her in the whole movie. She's the black grandma.
Yes.
The neighborhood grandma.
Yes. So, so you kind of see like the changes in the neighborhood. You have plenty of music and dancing and lots of songs, and you see how these different relationships interact. And we find out that Sonny is not a documented immigrant, and you find out that Usnavi has a hard time sort of trying to date Vanessa, and you find out that Benny and Nina have a fun summer while she's home from Stanford. And then at the end of the summer, you kind of try and you watch to see what happens with all those things. And some of them you find out what the answer is, and
some of them you don't at all.
But yeah, the big questions are: is Usnavi going to go to the Dominican Republic? And they lead you down that path to make you think that he is. I won't tell you what really happens, but I won't.
It's fair.
And
keep them guessing.
Yes. And you want to find out if Benny and Nina are going to stay together, or if Nina's going to go back to Stanford, or if Nina's dad is going to sell the cab business to pay for Stanford. I think I already let the cat out of the bag on that one. But anyway, all this stuff is happening at the end of the summer. Is Vanessa going to go become a fashion designer and live in a different part of the city, not in Washington Heights?
Washington Heights.
And is Sonny going to become an American citizen or get a green card? Or
lots of moving parts here.
Right.
So, yeah.
So those things you'll have to watch the movie to find out, or maybe make your own decision at the end of the movie if they didn't tell you what happened. Because some of them they don't.
That is very true.
That's my summary, spoiler free. And Todd, please share your thoughts on this musical film, In the Heights.
I will share them now.
Good.
I am not the biggest fan of musicals, so I can already kind of went into this knowing that this movie is not really for me. Like, there are some musicals I like, but on a whole, I just like. I think, I should preface this too, and I don't know. I'm probably gonna get death threats for saying this, but I wasn't the biggest fan of Hamilton either. So, I think our inbox is going to be blowing up with people wanting my
What are
head
you
for that
talking
one.
about, Todd?
Yeah.
I threaten you with death for your thoughts on Hamilton.
So, and I really was trying. So, okay, let me highlight some good parts before I start to like pick apart what I. I always want to start with the good. And
Start
then
with the good.
end with the bad. It's
What
like a
was
1-2
good?
punch.
Yes.
I think there's some great dance numbers. There's some good songs. There's some good cinematography shots, like of some very colorful things going on. Acting is pretty good, I'd say. Like I don't know if I can use the term great, but I thought it was good. Like I don't think anyone really there was no like total weak link to me in the acting. And I don't know if it's just because I have a hard time really getting behind musicals, so it's like maybe I'm not giving enough credit in that area. Yeah, things are catchy. I'm sure this is going to be like the next soundtrack thing that people never shut up about, which is pretty much probably what ruined Hamilton for me, of just everyone talking it up so much, and then I finally saw it and I was like, okay, thanks. So those are the good parts. Like if you're super into musicals and definitely if you loved Hamilton, then this is all, in my opinion, right up that alley. Like you're in your wheelhouse. This is for you to see. Go to the theaters. It's probably a funner experience than watching it on HBO Max, which you can watch it. So if you're that type of person that I just described, you're in for a treat probably. This is right for you, and you'll probably enjoy it. For people who are like me, there's a couple of big things that made me go, ugh, in this movie. Probably the strongest one is that of all the questions that you raised in your describing the movie, like, and big questions that are like basically the driving force of the movie. You don't get answers to some of them, which is such a cop-out crap deal to me. Like, if they were some small subplots and they weren't part of the main story, then I get it. You know, whatever. That stuff gets dropped on the cutting room floor all the time. But we're talking, at least in my opinion, two major plot points in the movie that is a driving force of this movie that you don't get a resolution on. And I think that's just really bad storytelling, bad script, bad directing, bad everything. Like, that speaks so like loudly to me of what I think is a super bad move. And I think that's like some major minus to me. So that's probably my biggest problem. The second problem I have, which is pretty big, but not as big as the first, is that maybe I'm just more of a traditional, like, musical person, that I can get more behind musicals that are in a traditional sense. These Lin-Manuel Miranda, did I say that right?
Yeah.
His stuff is so much singing and so much like that kind of stuff that it's just hard for me. Like it's like typically, I guess, in like a classical musical kind of sense, or at least the musicals that I grew up on or whatever, and certainly Disney movies or whatever, it's like story, song, story, song. Like, and maybe you get like 6 songs through the whole thing, and there's probably more on the soundtrack and stuff like that. But and these movies, along with Hamilton, are like little story, big song, very little story again, huge song, very little story, song, and then sometimes song right after the song, and it's like, it's just too much for me. Like I can't get behind it. I mean, like I said, if you're a huge fan of Hamilton and you love this style stuff, then they follow that suit, and it's great for them, and probably great for you. But it's just way too much singing. Sometimes I'm wanting the story to be driven more, and it's like, oh, we gotta stop for a musical interlude that sometimes has nothing to do with anything, and I'm like, you just wasted my time a little bit. I want that 4 minutes back. So I think those are my two biggest beefs, that I think especially my first biggest beef, make it go that I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie. Like, and I think if you're like me and maybe you're on the fence about these kind of movies, then watch it on HBO Max. Don't go to the theater. Like, it just, I'm not sure if you're going to want the biggest presentation that it can happen, which is theater. So you could probably skip the theater, still go see. I mean, it's got some important subject matters as far as, like you were mentioning, gentrification. We're talking about the dreamers, but almost like, I feel like that kind of stuff, while it's part of the story, some of it's so downplayed. And I thought it was going to be the biggest part of the story to me. Like, especially the dreamers part. And maybe it's because of the trailers. Like, I thought the trailers really amped up the, we're the dreamers. Like, don't kick the dreamers out and stuff like that. And there's like one kind of 2-minute rally that they go to, and then it's really not mentioned a whole lot again. And I don't know, it felt like the subject matter was really tiptoed around, and then here comes a musical number that has nothing to do with anything, where people are shaking their butts and their boobies. Like, and there's one character in this movie who I felt like her whole point, every time she talks, anytime she's doing anything, was to just shake her boobs and shake her butt. Like, that was her character to me. And I don't know, like, I guess that's great, and if you enjoy that, that's great. I just felt like it was a huge distraction. The subject matter, like, that seems like the most important subject matter, was just glossed over. And yeah, needless to say, I'm not the biggest fan. So that's where I'm going to end it. I could rant some more, but I feel like I've made my case. It's time to politely retreat and pass the mic to Matt. Matt, how did you feel about In the Heights?
Well, Todd, I'm going to disagree with you on certain things, but maybe not in the way that you would think.
Interesting, okay.
So, here's my preface. I like musicals. Yeah. I like musicals a lot. I think that they're fun, and, a lot of times you get songs out of them, and we can enjoy listening to the songs outside of the movie, and that's a fun experience and all that stuff. I liked Hamilton. I liked Hamilton a lot, and I thought it was like a well done play. Sure. And but this movie, excuse me, I did not think it was well done.
Yeah.
From a musical perspective. Yes, there are a lot of songs. If you like watching people sing and dance, those happen. But I don't think the songs are all that good. Like, if I compare the songs in this movie to the songs in Hamilton, I think that there are probably 3 or 4 songs in Hamilton that kind of stand out as, like, that's pretty catchy. I've heard that around town. I've heard people singing that. I've heard people get excited about that.
Yeah.
There's maybe one song in this movie that I feel like people might sing, might get into, and the rest are just kind of there.
Beats with rapping. That's
yeah.
Every song is pretty formulaic. Like, it is like singing, hitting huge high notes, and then here comes a rap interlude, like, and then it's back to big singing. And it's like every song is like that.
Yeah.
In this movie.
And that's fine. Like, that's what a lot of Hamilton was like too, but the songs were much better in Hamilton. The songs in this, to me, fall flat a lot. Mm-hmm. So, I would say if you liked Hamilton, you might not like this movie as much. And I'll say that.
Right. We should also, something we totally glossed over is that the main character in this movie is one of the main characters in Hamilton.
Correct. I don't know his name.
I don't know his name either, but I figured out. It's something. Nope, never mind. I lost it. I thought it was something Amos because it's like the first. But I'm probably pretty wrong.
Okay. Well, we can look that up later.
That's for them to look up. Okay,
You
we
guys
already
can look it up
we already
later.
glossed over it. You guys got homework.
This is our gut reaction.
Yeah.
Our gut reaction doesn't include looking
our
things up,
gut reaction
except when it
doesn't
does.
remember some actors' names. Okay.
Right. So, story-wise, I thought the beginning of this movie was just a mess with trying to tell the story and just like all over the place. Way too many musical numbers. I agree with you on that. And then finally, like the last, I don't know, half hour of the movie. I don't know how long this movie was. It felt long.
It was like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
But I would say finally in the last half hour, you get some meat onto the story. You get some stuff that you might care about that's more than just like, oh, he wants to go on a date with her, la la la.
yeah.
That's when you start touching on some of these issues like, hey, Nina faced racism at Stanford in a
Yes.
pretty significant way. And what did she do about it? Well, let's have a musical number that has nothing to do with it. But I felt like there was some storytelling that happened near the end that was good. But the first part of the movie is just, it's not done well, and it sucks that it's not done well. So there's that. I thought everybody did fine when they were singing and dancing, it was good. And I don't know. I was disappointed. I was excited for this movie coming in. Unlike you, I was excited. I was like, this could be great. This is going to be like fun. It'll be like the hit of the summer, and we'll be singing these songs all summer, and I don't think we're going to do that.
I don't think I can remember a song right now.
In the Heights.
Yeah, that's true. That
Just
line,
that one.
and then when the blackout happens, which is not a spoiler, it's kind of like a big part in the movie, but it's definitely not a spoiler. I had a hard time controlling my laughter when, for like 30 seconds, people were just singing, "We're in the dark. We're in the dark." It was like they just kept from going from character to character. "We're in the dark." People lighting candles. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
There's a blackout. You're in the dark. You're lighting candles. I got it the first 15 times. Oh, we're still going. Okay, all right. You're still in the dark.
And they're powerless.
Yeah. Ugh.
So, I think, I don't know who should watch this movie. I guess if you want to watch people sing and dance and don't care about story, then maybe this movie is right up your alley. If you're a big Lin-Manuel Miranda fan, he wrote all the music for this. This is based on a play, which I think has the same name. And there was times you could really tell that it was based on a play too. Like the movie has the feel of a play and like the scene construction and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
You do get, your cinematography stuff, but which is decent. But the overall construction feels very play-like, very play-heavy. So, so I'm gonna say I didn't love it, and that's
fair.
That's where I'll leave it.
Nice.
Unloved.
Well, not nice, but
unloved.
unloved. Oh, man. Well, Matt, how many green cards would you give this movie? Obviously, 5 being the best green cards because then more people can stay in the country.
Right.
0 green cards is not good because then no one gets to stay in the country.
Right. Well, on that scale, I would give this movie, I'm going to give it a 2.1. 2.1 out of 5 green cards. 2.1 green cards. So 2 and a little sliver of a third one, but not much at all. And that's basically I like musicals and I didn't like this one. And there's some strong performances which caused me not to rate it lower, but I don't think there's enough to even bring us up to like an average film.
Sure.
I think it's a below average film.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'll say. How about you?
Well, I feel like if anyone's been paying attention since we've come back to the movie theater, I've been slightly slipping in what's Todd's soda situation like for the movie. That can very much determine if he was a big fan or not.
Yes.
And I can tell you that I finished my soda like in the first, almost before we like started the movie, which is not the movie's fault because there's a ton of previews, but
Right.
I definitely finished my soda in my first 30 minutes. Like, and it was just out of boredom and drinking it. Like, what am I doing? I'm not enjoying myself. I should drink. I should have a drink of my soda. So, that's gonna leave me. The number that pops in my mind is a 1.5. Well below average in my opinion. I tried pretty hard to point out some things that I considered to be good or better, but really, I'm just not a big fan. And I think I'm misrepresenting myself. It's not like I hate musicals or anything. I certainly like Disney movies, and there's definitely like Les Mis I love and stuff like that. So there are definitely musicals that I enjoy, but on a whole, it's just not my favorite genre. And gosh darn it, there was just so much singing in this, and every song felt the same. Like, so formulaic. So let's sing high notes, rap, dance. Sing high note, rap, dance. Like, so yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. People come here to hear what I want to think about it, and I wasn't a big fan. So 1.5.
There you go.
If you're going off of my recommendation, don't see it. But
Right.
you got to decide that for yourself.
Well, I mean, I think if you're going off our joint recommendation, it's don't see it either.
Yeah.
I mean, our average here for In the Heights is going to be 1.8.
Yeah.
That's a not see unless you meet some really specific requirements.
Yeah.
If you're obsessed with anyone in it, if you love Lin-Manuel Miranda, okay, see it, but know that you might be disappointed.
Yeah.
And
well, and for me, definitely something I haven't even touched on because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to, but I'm going to right now.
all right.
Keeping it spoiler free, there's like a twisty turn at the end of this movie that I thought was dumb,
Yeah.
but that's
Wow.
just me.
I thought it was dumb too.
Yeah,
And I
so-
know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
So,
And if anyone's seen the play, you probably know. Well, I don't know how close the play is to the movie. I would assume it's pretty close, but
hard to say.
you know what they say when you assume stuff.
Yeah. Makes an ass out of you and me.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
that is what they say.
Well, that is going to wrap up our review of In the Heights, which we really didn't like that much and don't think you should see. So, but thank you for listening to the podcast nonetheless. Hopefully this helped you make your own determination about whether you're going to watch this movie or not. Or if you already watched it and you vehemently disagree with us, you can contact us on Instagram or Facebook, comment on when we post this episode,
Yeah,
which,
you can
You're listening
politely
to it?
respond to us, but don't
Yeah.
don't be coming at us strong.
wow, I'll take whatever.
Oh,
You can
alright,
come
okay.
strong. It's
Wow.
fine.
All right.
We're sharing opinions, not facts for the most part. So, you have a strong opinion, bring it. Bring it.
All right. Okay.
We might shove it back down your throat, but no, we would never do
Now
that.
we're talking.
We are,
we would never do that. I don't know what you're talking about. That's beneath us.
Yes. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you for listening, listeners. We'll keep making these. You keep listening, and we'll see you next time.
Ba-da-da-da.
Da-da,
Da-da-da.
da-da-da.